week long, we've been talking to people who made headlines in the most scandalous news stories of their time to find out where are they now. And we're ending the week with the woman at the center of the most shocking international sex scandal of her time, Sydney Barrows, a member of a prominent American family who came over on the Mayflower. Sydney was busted for running a high-end prostitution ring that catered to the rich and powerful and became known as the Mayflower Madam. Please welcome Sydney Barrows. In 1984, you pled guilty to a misdemeanor. You paid $5,000. You had no jail time. You wrote a best-selling book. You had a best-selling movie. What are you doing now?
Actually, believe it or not, now I'm a business consultant. My area of expertise, believe it or not, is the customer experience. No laughing.
Okay, this all sounds code speak, but it's customer experience, business.
Client experience, patient experience. My area of, I mainly work with professional practices. And,
well, you know how to run a business.
Exactly. Yeah. But see, people would be mistaken if they thought that I was in the sex business. Yeah. I mean, yes, there was sex involved, but let's face it, they could have gotten it from a lot of other places, paid a hell of a lot less money, and there's plenty of women giving it out for free. So for them to pay top dollar, they weren't just paying for that, they were paying for the experience.
Which included what?
Which included, from the minute they got on the phone, this is what I work when I have with my, when I'm a consultant. From the second that they got on the phone with they were treated in a certain way. The young ladies, and we called them young ladies, the words we use, that's very important. They always dressed in a certain way.
Was there something that the men wanted to hear, particularly that maybe their wives or current girlfriends weren't getting? Like, what did you coach them on? What did these guys want to hear?
Nobody does it like you.
You're always
See, the mistake everybody makes is thinking that men stray, and Elliot Spitzer's a perfect example of this, men stray because there's something wrong with their wives. That's not true. Men stray to stay. In other words, they love their wives, they love their children, they have no intention or interest in leaving their families, but there's just something they're not getting that they feel they can't live without. So instead of leaving and going to find it, they stray to go and find it.
Now, and with a professional.
But see, that's much better.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want them to have a girlfriend. Then they've exactly.
You were making over $1 million back in the 80s. What's the money like now?
It's not as good. I'll just say that. It's not as good.
Now, was it... Oh, I'm sorry. Is it true that there were no blacks or Latinas, and was that a conscious
effort? No, that's not true at all.
Oh, see, that's not true. There was mixed folks.
After there's a girl named Jerry who was absolutely stunning and very popular. I had 3 or 4 different Latina girls. Oh, yeah, I don't know where you heard that, but it's not true.
But no, you yourself didn't have sex for money. You were
I started out as a phone girl. I was on unemployment, and someone that I knew was answering the phones for an escort service. She was making $50 a night off the books, which was a lot of money back then. And when someone in the office left, she asked me if I was interested in the job, and I said, sure. I was just answering the phones. And after, it may have been the world's oldest profession, but it wasn't being run very professionally. So after a couple of months, she and I looked at each other and said, we're at least as smart as he is. We're definitely nicer than he is. Why don't we start our own escort service?
Smart.
And so we did.
But but you got, what did you say, $5,000 fine and no jail time?
A kiss on the wrist. Instead of a slap on the wrist, my attorney called it a kiss on the wrist.
Now, if you see a street girl in New York City, walking around, what do you call those? Hookers. Like a streetwalker. That's what I was going for. A streetwalker. These girls, they don't have much money. They've got a pimp who's a little bit nasty. If those girls get caught, they actually do go to jail. How come you got off?
Not for very long. They just go to jail until they're arraigned, and then they're released for time service.
But they don't seem to get off as easily.
It's a cost of doing business.
What is that about? Is it because of your background, do you think, or the Mayflower thing?
No, it's because of the clients that I had.
And the fact they
were no, but the thing is, I had a client book that they would have had to have made public if there was a trial. There was no way they were going to do that.
And also, you weren't working; that you were.
That really didn't have anything to do with it.
Can I ask you? You're actually called. Joy alluded to this, but you're called the Mayflower Madam because your ancestors actually came over on the Mayflower.
Yes,
these were prominent ambassadors, philanthropists. How did your relationship with them become affected once they found out this is what you were up to?
They were horrified, but fascinated, and they loved being able to talk about it. You know, you can think about it. Here you are at the Thanksgiving table, and and you got to talk about something. So you talked about this. It was fun. It was exciting. It was.
How about that?
Although the social register did throw me out.
Oh, well, who
So
cares?
you got married in 1994, and your husband.
no longer married.
You're no longer married, but he was quite prominent. Now, what did he think of your career? Did that affect the demise of your relationship?
No, not at all.
No,
Not at all.
You think
He didn't care.
He didn't care.
Anybody you're dating, Sydney?
Yeah, but I'd rather not talk about it.
Do you think, overall, do you
thank
think
you.
prostitution should be legal?
Yeah, if you can give it away, why can't you sell it?
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
That's a bumper sticker if I ever heard one.
That's right.
And then maybe the taxes from that could actually help to balance.
It would also help. Well, it would also help the girls that Joy is talking about, because then we could say, you have to go to the doctor. You have to get yourself checked. It's ridiculous to believe that guys are not going to do this, and why not make them safe and you safe as the person?
hypocrisy of it is.
How long would it take you if it were to become legal for you to get back in the business?
I wouldn't do it. I'll tell you something. What I'm doing now is so rewarding. I'm doing something called roadblock removal because my consulting clients who pay me thousands and thousands of dollars, they love what I tell them to do or suggest that they do, and they don't do it. I mean, how many times have you wanted to do something and there's something that keeps you from doing it? So I'm into this thing called roadblock removal, and I can actually remove the roadblocks, and all you do is just sit on the phone with me and you do nothing.
so you teach them
And
to take
sounds like
risks to
sex.
go out. Sydney, thank you so much. I love this, Joy. That's an ending. Our thanks to Sydney Barrows. We're going to be right back with the host of What Would You Do, John Quinones.